Hello everyone! I hope everyone's doing good. Welcome on into the stream today. So, yesterday, I did have to leave early, so I only was able to stream for an hour. But right as I was just about to end, all of my internet goes out. I'm like, well, there's no proper goodbye for this stream, and I gotta go anyway, so I can't come back. I was like, oh, dang. But hopefully, no internet outages today. It's been rough. The internet's been pretty bad here for a little while. But it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna make it through. We're gonna beat the tutorial case today at the very least. Given how we left off. Given how we left off, we're probably going to beat the tutorial case, I'm guessing within the half hour. I do not think there's much left. We know who the killer is. We're pretty much just proving it at this point. But we'll probably start episode 2 as well today. We'll see. We'll see how... I'm guessing half an hour. That's my guess. Alright, because it cut off, I'm going to... Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm figuring out my controls again. History is triangle. We'll go back a little bit. We're not. If you recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death, inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on the stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable. A stool? Have another look at the photograph. Hi! How you doing? Welcome on in! The slit in the read screen would align perfectly with the back of a person who was sitting on that stool. My word! So in fact the victim was killed while sitting on that stool by a stab wound to her back, delivered through the read screen. Get 'em, Susato. Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose to her feet instinctively. But then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut. Before the defendant, Mbamizan's appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day. By your silence, Menimemo-san, I take it that you don't deny the charge. Just give up. If it ends here, that's gonna be nuts. I don't see it ending here, though. I feel like there's more. And this is absurd. Because we haven't figured out motive, so I doubt it's ending here. That will do. It would appear that we have a tacit admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of this matter. Which means that the defendant, Mbami-san, is innocent of the crime. Oh, thank goodness. I finally made him cave. I must say, I've never been more proud. Aw, thanks, Dad. No, this can't be. The Aoshi clan can't. What of my growth? My growth of hope. Ew, never say that again. It wasn't all an apparition. I can't accept this. I won't. I see no reason for the continuance of this trial. I will therefore move to conclude proceedings by Yep. Who could have foreseen this turn of events? It was too easy. Well, this is all very convenient. This is how the highest court in our mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals. But we've established that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut, through the reed screen walls. And no one but you was in place at the time to have his hand on the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction. So, your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the English woman, does it? Well, it seems a little irrelevant now. Irrelevant? Oh, where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed, it does not matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. I disagree. After all, this trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else. What are you talking about? Brace yourself, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed. Because of the dirt you dug up. Uh-huh. What? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know where he's going with this. Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness. Oh, what's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course. The poison. Let's ask the professor for a comment on the situation, shall we? I understand that the deadly poison you were developing was stolen from your laboratory, correct? And it's been shown that the poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett. Is that right? That is correct. The unusual constriction of the victim's pupils are a sure sign that this particular poison was used. I see, so presumably that means that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed? Huh. Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely. Yes. If she had been dead already, the poison could not have circulated in her blood. How refreshing to hear the argument of a metropolitan mind. Precisely. It matters not a jot who stabbed whom and whose back and with whose blade. Because, quite simply, the Englishwoman's life was taken not by the knife, but by the poison. He stabbed a woman. Within... I'm gonna lose it. Objection! Yeah, object, please, Susanoo. But that could be explained by the poison being on the blade, as I already... Forgotten already, have we, yokel? Yeah, there was no signs of... yeah. During these very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor at your side assisted in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it or whatsoever. So let me get this down. The facts as skillfully established by the defense in this trial turns out to be a headline-making red herring. Is that about right? Well... oh. Order, order, order. But where does this leave us? How, in that case, did the poison enter the victim's body? There is an undeniably obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it. You mean she drank it? Have another look at the photograph here. As you can see, a bottle of carbonated water and a glass had been knocked onto the sandy floor of the beach hut. The poison could have been slipped into either. So somebody made Miss Brett drink it. Well, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. This will make a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? Why is it my controller is not working? Oh, it shut off. Oh well. After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all that I poisoned the woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already.
Hold it!
Established? What are you talking about? Hmm? Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's a little hard to believe, given that the person who established it was you. Me? What on earth does he mean? Oh, let me capture those wide eyes. This is prime press fodder, this is. It would seem that this trial is not destined to end yet after all. I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony. That's great, that is. Let me get a shot of that magnificent beard, Your Excellency. You claim it to be impossible that you were the one responsible for administering the poison to the victim. You will explain to the court in your testimony the basis upon which you make such a claim. I'm a journo and I'm a man. I've never tried to run or hide from anything in my life, and I'm not about to start now, because that's a many memoism. I hate this guy so much. Bring back Inspector Hosonaga. For a brief moment, I thought I'd illuminated the truth, but it slipped right back into obscurity again. Just where is this trial going to take us? Oh, yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman, and it's that very fact that proves I'm innocent. Crazy line! Can I just say? Crazy freaking line. you can't just say that in court. Okay. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I've already poisoned her to make sure it worked? Like, you didn't know it wasn't your poison. Like, there was a million reasons why. When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat. If the courts weren't going to punish Brett for what she did, someone else would have to see justice done. So you admit it then? Yeah. That everything happened as I described? It was that easy? You were the one who stabbed Miss Brett in the back through the read screen? You can blame this miserable country of ours. A country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and lets murderers walk free. What kind of future can a country like that have? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. So you admit it, and we can go home? Slap bang in the middle of that charming lady's back, I plunge the blade of sweet justice right in there. So you're admitting to attempted murder at the very least. Like minimum, this is attempted murder. We know you definitely killed her, but... As someone who spends his life seeing that the truth is told, I feel really, really awful about giving false information in my testimony before. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got to her before me. That's right, you guessed it. The pretty little student girl. Now there's a woman after my own heart. You're implicating Ray again. She's the one who gave the poison to the Englishwoman and ended her pitiful existence. And suddenly, snap! This journo here is off the hook. The argument is sound, certainly. It's not. It's not. Why? He admitted to murder. Why would you believe anything else he says? If the witness had administered the poison himself, he need only have waited for it to take effect. Yeah, but again, like I said, like he could have, like he thought, oh, it's not working, let me just make sure it's, you know, gets the job done, or whatever. It's dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb. I'm mad. I'm mad at this court. Subsequently, stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely nonsensical. It would not have. And therefore, this reporter had nothing to do with the poisoning. Yes, it's all quite illogical. Does not matter. He stabbed her. He said so. He said he stabbed her. That's right, it is. Illogical and true. I'm glad you've all seen the light. Justice at last. This is unbelievable. Yeah, Susanoo, please. Spare us from this. And after I'd made so much progress in proving his guilt, is he gonna get away with it now? Think of Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san. They never stopped looking for a way forward until the judge's final gavel. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with what I assume to be your final cross-examination in this trial. Yes, Your Excellency. Okay.
Hold it!
So, you admit that you had murderous intentions towards Miss Brett, then? Huh. The woman's very existence offended my sense of justice. Your sense of... He's claiming some sort of righteous indignation? She was pure evil, a cold-blooded killer who'd committed murder right here on Empire's soil. But did our good-for-nothing government do anything? Not a chance, so I had to step in. Fly the flag of justice, put things right for the people. Yes, it was my civic duty. That's what drove me to do it. So, in summary, murderous intentions, then? Whatever you want to call it, the point is this. That Englishwoman was a blight, so I had to do what was right for society. Yet a real wrong was done by the student girl in the dock, a crime for which she must pay. Obviously, because the poisoning has nothing to do with me at all. Oh, I'm sure. Because why would I bother to stab the woman if I'd already poisoned her? A million reasons. A million reasons. So you still maintain that you didn't give the poison to the victim? Obviously, that'd be like putting a belt on your trousers when you are already wearing braces like these. The accused administered the poison, following which the witness stabbed the victim. An unforgivable act, certainly, but not one of murder. That crime rests on the accused's shoulders. Their voices are mixing. So sorry. That is how the law works, you see, yokel. Who knows, you may even learn something here today. 2 consecutive attempts on her life in the space of minutes? Yeah, quite unlikely, isn't it? Quite a day for the victim. Do something that evil and you've got it coming. That's how the law works. The law of reckoning. It's not the kind of law this court upholds. You will reiterate why you were compelled to stab the victim then, witness. Oh. But when I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat.
Hold it!
What exactly were they arguing about? And what happened in that restaurant 9 months ago? About what happened in that restaurant 9 months ago, that's what. The student girl was laying into the Englishwoman for killing her beloved mentor, Dr. Wilson. Yes, John H. Wilson. A professor of medicine invited here from England by Professor Mikatoba, no less. Oh, right, but the Englishwoman just jeered. Her case was to be heard by that British consular court in Shanghai. However, there is little doubt that she would simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland a free woman. It was eating that student girl up inside. You could see it. I really felt for her. Oh. Oh. I can't stand here and listen to this tripe. It's like the most the defendant has, like, interjected themselves into the court case. Right. Hey, young girl, you stand accused here. You can't just blurt out whatever you feel like. No, you can't. I'm sorry, but I'm in the middle of some very important testimony here. Just keep quiet and listen. But this awful man is making all of this up. Susato, please. You have to make them listen. Stop calling me Susato. Return to the dock once, Membami-san. We are in the middle of a cross-examination.
Hold it!
Your Excellency, please, I implore you. That journalist is clearly not a trustworthy witness. Exactly. He's a filthy, rotten, black-hearted, bigoted, dirty, great peeping Tom. Destroy him. Oh, whoa, take it easy there. Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say. Your Excellency, I see no need whatsoever to entertain the accused's remarks. I will grant the request of the defense. But, Your Excellency. This is likely to be the final cross-examination of these proceedings. As such, I believe it would be ill-advised to stifle the defendant's obvious concerns. So, whilst recognizing that this contravenes regular protocol, I hereby call upon the defendant to speak. Oh. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. It was nothing to do with Dr. Wilson. We were discussing the stolen poison.
Hold it!
The stolen poison that killed the victim, you mean? I suspected her of being the one to steal it. I mean, just think about how she killed Dr. Wilson. That's true. Additionally, Miss Brett certainly had knowledge of the new poison. But surely it would be easy to talk to But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the government. Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. That's true. I pestered Professor Mikatoba until he agreed to show me the poison when I visited his laboratory. But as I left, I was searched from top to tail. Miss Brett rather bluntly revealed the existence of the toxin we'd been developing, you see. And since Sosuke-san expressed such an interest in it, I felt unable to refuse. Obviously, I gave nothing away other than the fact that it was an extremely potent substance. I'm very ashamed of myself. It's just that I've had a singularly terrible experience with a deadly poison. I wanted to look at my old enemy in the eye. Surely you can understand that. To find out if my suspicions were true, I confronted Miss Brett about the poison. I told her if there were to be an incident involving it somehow, it wouldn't just be the university. The military would be dragged into it. The whole government, even. It'd be a complete disaster. And how did Miss Brett respond to your concerns? She just curled those beautiful lips of hers and said she didn't know the first thing about it. In English, actually.
Yes. Many memos-san. One small question, if you don't mind. I do mind. Can't you see I'm busy? Clearly you were outside the beach hut listening in whilst the defendant and Miss Brett were conversing. Presumably then, it was you who wrote this article about what you'd heard. Exclusive, deadly poison stolen from Yumai Medical Research Laboratory. The story was published in this morning's edition of Shoyu News. The details are too accurate for it to have been written by anyone else. Sorry, don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, look at this. The entire article is almost what I said to Miss Brett word for word. Well, Many Memo-san?
As a journal, and as a citizen of a free country, I don't have to reveal my sources. That's a founding principle of many Menomoism.
Father's clearly right about this. The reporter did write that article, and he based it on what he overheard from outside the hut. So that's what it was all about. You were trying to cover up the fact that you were listening in. That's why you came up with that stinking story about me arguing with her.
Shut up! My stories never stink. Look, whatever you say, little girl, it doesn't alter the facts. Your Excellency, there's something I want to say, and I want it to go on record. Very well. You may amend your formal testimony. Okay, buddy. The point is, if you poison someone, there'd be no reason to then go and stab the person as well.
I have something to say to that, I think.
Objection!
Well, I can think of one reason. What?
But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court. Did you glean all the information for this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut?
Of course he did. There could be no question of that. After all, when we were all in the laboratory together, all we were told is that it was a terrible toxin.
And there is one more important fact to consider. According to the witness, Mamami-san's verbal attack against the victim began as soon as she entered the hut. In other words, it would have been impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Brett's drink.
Objection!
Where are you going with this, counsel? Many Memo-san has made it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. And if the defendant had somehow found an opportunity, this man would have seen it.
Which means that Miss Brett couldn't have imbibed the poison whilst the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Mamami-san entered the hut. Yes, very articulately put.
When I walked into the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Brett about the poison. At which point, Memo-san overheard some worrying information. Worrying information? Oh, what worrying information? The information which he subsequently included in his newspaper article, namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy and that it couldn't be readily obtained.
Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could come from is my lab.
And furthermore, anyone afflicted by the poison would exhibit telltale signs in death. The extreme constriction of the pupils. Yes, it's quite stark when you see it. There are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable. In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life had been ended by the use of this particular poison, which would reduce the number of suspects to only a handful of people.
Ugh. Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious deed. Membami-san being no exception.
Therefore, we can conclude that whoever administered this unique poison to the victim was a layperson, unaware of its telltale properties. In other words, someone like you. Write in many memo.
Yeah.
It was you who stole the poison from the laboratory that day, and it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim. But you quickly realized that was a terrible mistake, because the poison caused such unusual symptoms and was so traceable. As you listened in from the far side of the beach hut's thin walls, you learned of these facts. But you'd already given the victim the poison at that point. It was too late. So you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involved stabbing the victim in the back through the read screen.
Objection!
But what good could that possibly do? Isn't it obvious, Counsel? The plan was to kill Miss Brett before the poison could take effect.
Once in the blood, the poison causes the onset of pupil constriction. But he had hoped to precipitate the victim's death before that happened, hadn't he?
Exactly. Because without any revealing signs of the new secret poison's use, no one would have ever suspected.
That is extraordinary.
Yes, the effects of the poison may not be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use. Which he attempted to do by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back.
Order, order, order. The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that it warrants consideration. Does the prosecution have a counter-argument it wishes to put forward?
Well, there are a number of... yes, I counter completely.
Objection!
The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows that in much the same way as he nurtures the remnants of his topknot,
He is clinging to lost hope. Destroy him, Susano. Your one-liners are awesome.
lost hope?
Let me guess.
How did I poison her? You have no proof that I poisoned her. How would I have done it? When would I have the opportunity?
I'm calling it now.
Oh, you pathetic, useless, fallen samurai. Fallen? Who are you calling fallen? My burgeoning growth, it's...
I don't need a counter-argument.
But what are you talking about?
It should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say? Gave it to the victim, you say? Stabbed her, you say? Lots of fine theories. But I don't need a counter-argument because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence? Yes, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without evidence, it means nothing. Whereas I base my news on facts. Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself. I mean what the professor said earlier in that trial, in this trial. It's all in here, in many memos, every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's why the Shoyu News, that's what the Shoyu News is famous for. It's the power of the printed word. But surely, it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the government. Indeed. All visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. How's that then? Blown the story wide open? See, I write in many memo, a mere reporter from the Shoyu News. Couldn't possibly have stolen that poison from the professor's laboratory.
But there can't be any question of it. He must have stolen the poison that day. He stole it and used it to kill. And if that's the case, as you have identified, the poison itself is the definitive evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is the true culprit here.
What's your point, you annoyingly handsome country bumpkin? Everyone's hitting on you, Susato.
My point is this. There is one way that you, Menimemo-san, could have stolen the poison that day.
I have heard enough verbal conjecture now, thank you. What the court must be shown is evidence. What proof do you have that this witness stole the poison on the day in question?
I'm wondering, he obviously didn't poison the knife. We know that there was known. And we still have the chemical reagent, which means there's one of our, something we have has things on it. I wonder if it's the pen? Maybe he coated the pen in the poison? Is there like something we can examine? If we take the pen's, take off the pen's lid. Oh, you can actually open it. Oh. Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink.
Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from a bottle up through the nib.
Is something wrong, Father?
Just that there doesn't appear to be any ink in there, that's all.
Oh, yes, you're right. It's pretty much empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. There is a very small amount of liquid still inside the ink reservoir. I wonder if that's the poison.
Take that!
The proof, Your Excellency. Okay, is this fountain pen?
A fountain pen? How could that possibly be relevant?
These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters. I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago now. Bah, I swear by a weasel hair calligraphy brush and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad, oh I'm sure.
Oh, well, as a forward-thinking man of words, obviously I love my fountain pen. Suck up a soupçon of sumptuous ink, and one's work is awash with words in the blink of an eye.
That's right. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, into which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen in order to write with later. Oh, what does all this talking of sucking up ink have? And just as it's possible to suck ink up into the reservoir, it's also possible to eject it through the nib again, of course.
My word, can this really be?
Well, Menimemo-san?
Hold on. I knocked my microphone over. Its little legs fell. There we go. When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up through the nib and into the pen's reservoir.
Objection!
More absurdity. That never happened.
True, we've heard that there were procedures in place to prevent thefts like this from the laboratory. But would anyone have thought to look inside a fountain pen of all places? No, I'm a little ashamed to say that for fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted. Well, that is quite startling, I must say. I remind the court that this pen was found in the clutches of the victim when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by Many Memo-san. So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pen dropped? Are you suggesting? The natural conclusion is that in your haste to act whilst the victim was distracted for a moment, you dropped the pen after you emptied the poison from it into her glass.
Objection!
There could be any number of alternative explanations. For example, the witness could have been using his pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by one of her outrageous answers, the pen fell from his quivering hand.
Objection!
No, that can't be. If it was, how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink? What? As you can see for yourself if you examine the evidence, there would appear to be no ink present in the reservoir. What newspaper reporter goes to interview someone with nothing in his pen? No, the pen was dropped after the poison that filled its reservoir has been emptied into the victim's glass. And we're going to use our chemical reagent to prove that, aren't we?
Witness, what do you have to say in your defense? So this is how a modern justice system works, is it? I'm surprised there's still there's almost like an hour left of this tutorial case. This is a long tutorial case. So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? I can always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty in reserve. Oh, he's attacking everyone in court. You claim I sucked the poison up into my pen? That's wild speculation, nothing more. If you thought you could bring down a fine, upstanding citizen with a trick like that, think again. It looks as though it's going to take one final decisive blow to finish this matter. As I see it, the situation is now very simple. It rests upon whether or not this witness did indeed steal the poison on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends upon whether or not the defense can prove that he did it with evidence. No such evidence could possibly exist.
Objection!
Many Memo-san, this is how our modern justice system works.
What?
In the courtroom, evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember. Because we are well past the point of speculation at this stage, I assure you.
Very well then. I call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence.
This is it then. This will be the final piece in the puzzle.
The defense can prove, by means of this item, that it was the witness's pen that was used to steal the poison.
The chemical reagent.
Take that!
I was wondering when it was going to come up.
Counsel, what is that bottle?
This bottle contains the unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question.
Yes, that poison is an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues and I. It would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method. Or from another perspective, simply with the chemical reagent, anybody at all could check for traces of the poison. A reagent? What? One drop of the contents of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, Manimamo-san, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt. No, you can't. I won't.
Your crimes are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat.
Damn, get him.
Your Excellency, the defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once.
There we go. Breakdown. This isn't my fault. The Empire drove me to this, trying to hold its head high as a civilized nation by bowing its head to took up arms in the form of a mighty pen and thought tirelessly in the battlefield, all in the name of justice and righteousness and many memoism. Yo!
Susato, with me! I'm there! That was so cute. Did I do it right? That was a Susato takedown, wasn't it?
That is so cute. Oh my god, I love them.
Not quite.
That was a Ryotaro takedown. Let's go. That was so cute. I love them. Oh my god, these guys are adorable. I love them.
The instant of the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present.
When I saw it there in the lab, the poison. The devil got hold of me and I decided to do it on a whim. I excused myself and emptied all the ink down the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully.
And then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen.
Yes, that's right. Answer me one thing, Manimamo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all, too juicy for a journal like me to pass up.
Then why did the Englishwoman end up dead?
I went into that hut intending to quiz her on her situation, that's all. As a reporter. Why did he have a knife with him to begin with? A known killer, enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face.
And what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism. Really, you must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, you ignorant plebeian.
What? What did you call me?
This country, with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, it's really very depressing. See our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them.
God, she sucked.
Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back into the cave you came from.
And that's when I remembered about the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time. What a terrible tale. In my head, I knew I should just get out of there as quickly as possible. But I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done when she clearly had no remorse at all. I suppose it was my journo spirit getting all fired up.
I'd like to ask you something.
Yes?
You often talk about justice. But surely as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought.
There's no justice in the press.
Sorry?
After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what had happened in that courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up. That's what it was.
What? A cover-up? What do you mean?
I would remind you of your position, witness. Be careful of what you say. Oh, come on, doesn't it strike you as strange? We're suddenly not allowed to convict a foreign national. Consular jurisdiction should never have come into it. And yet that puffed-up Englishwoman was going to sail away into the sunset a free woman. The only possible explanation is that behind the scenes, some deal had gone on down between Britain and Japan.
Oh. What sort of deal?
I wonder if this is connected to that, like, Morse code message at the end of the last game. I'd done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to be published.
In which case, what does Kazuma have to do with it all? Because his name was mentioned.
But you know what happened. The editor just tore the article up. He came under pressure from the government, you mean? If our government is going to let criminals walk free, if they're going to crush the free press, then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself?
Let's not forget, Menimemo-san, that you committed murder yourself and you tried to lay the blame on the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Giselle Brett.
What?
The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all.
I suppose. It would appear that we have reached a conclusion in his trial at last. Counsel for the defense, Ryotaro Naruhodo.
Oh! Yes, sorry, Your Excellency. Just musing in a manly way here.
It's almost unbelievable that this is your first experience of the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits. Aw, Naruhodo.
Oh, Naruhodo-san, Ryunosuke, you mean?
The way he handled the trial 9 months ago and the way you handled this one, it gives me hope that we are genuinely entering a new era of justice in this land.
That's very flattering, Your Excellency.
Hearing the defense you put forward today made me feel most keenly that the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries.
Thank you.
So, Prosecutor Ouchi, do you have any final thoughts? Oh my god.
But Prosecutor Ouchi? I, Takatsuchi of the Ouchi clan, have been bested by a callow youth not once now, but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it has withered and died here today. Gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it? Silence? Or rather than living on in shame.
I will end it all now with this okay, I know he's gonna, like, just, like, cut off, like, his hair or whatever, but insane. For this is the true path to Ouchieism. Ouchieism? One hopes that's the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness. Sprig of my top knot, the time is right for farewell. Hope is lost forever. Taketsuchi. Oh my god. Oh my god. No, do not. Do not. Oh my god. This is nuts. No. Dude, I love this game. I love this franchise. Now, in regard to the defendant, Rai Membame-san.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you not guilty. Huzzah. Oh, the cherry blossom petals. Court is adjourned. August, 2:38 p.m. Supreme Court Adjudicature, Defendant's Antechamber 3.
It's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do just to stay standing.
Oh, Ranosuke.
Lawyers have such great responsibility, such a great burden to bear. Don't they, Naruhodo-san? Susato!
Oh.
Thank you so much. You were so dashing in there. Rai, and Father. Honestly, I'm so touched by everything you've... Oh no, I think I'm gonna cry. It wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end too. The only reason I'm still here is because of you. Oh no, I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth in there. You did wonderfully, Rai. So I would have to say that the congratulations belong to you. Susato, don't be so standoffish. Sorry. We're friends, equals, and the trial's over. So no more of this formal, super humility nonsense. It's time to celebrate with swagger. To throw caution to the wind. Caution to the... what? I'm the great defense lawyer Ryutaro Naruhodo, and I'm taking you out to a milk bar tomorrow. Or something. They're so cute.
I can't get over them. I love them so much.
Right, I see. I'll, think about it, right? At any rate, we really knocked the wind out of that horrid man. And it felt so good. Yes, it was so satisfying. It really was. Isn't there anybody else we could throw together?
I hope you're not looking at me, Rai.
Oh, my goodness. No, of course not. Of course not.
Ah, there it is at last. Rai's lovely smile. Oh. You fought for your friend to the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you, Defense Attorney Ryutaro Naruhodo.
Thank you, but I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryutaro, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but It's back to Susato Mikotoba now. So, I'll never see him again then? What a terrible shame. I love how instantly she fell in love with Ryotaro. Oh. Who's yelling? Who's yelling what? What? They were overheard? That's so funny. What is happening? Suzuki-san and Inspector Hosonaga. I do hope you've been keeping well. Is that really you? Yes, I had to change up my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope, but it's me. Susato Mikotoba. I don't. So dashing, so divine. Everyone. No. Doubly dashing, yes, and devilishly divine. Just look at you. I had no idea, Miss Susato-san, Esquiress, that you were locum student Naruhodo-san, Esquire's cousin. Astonishingly astounding Ace Attorney. Roll credits. He said the name of the franchise. Poor Sasuke-san. So confused. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was that the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroiled in. But after Naruhodo-san's skillful defense at the Old Bailey, Suzuki-san was free to return to Japan. And now he seems to have earned himself great fame as an author. I'm stunned. What a truly impressive disguise. Oh yeah, his whole thing is disguises. That's funny. Even I had no idea, and I'm a chief inspector at the police bureau who came up with Mr. Turtle, no less. I'm not sure you need be admitting to that, Inspector. Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see. Just two, really. And this was a once-in-a-lifetime event. I hope. Oh, I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector. Well, I am a professional, of course. I do worry about Inspector Hosonaga sometimes. I really do. 9 months ago, when he appeared here at the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant. And then on the steamship to Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe on the journey. Oh, no! I was about to say, you can't say that line and then flash to Kazuma dead on the ground. You can't do that. That was like a heart attack, a jump scare. Oh, I'm crying. Though that didn't help, you did it, Kazuma-sama. Stop. Oh, I miss Kazuma. It's crazy the effect Kazuma has. He really is haunting the narrative in these games. From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about all this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever. What do you mean? I'm talking about the murder that the Englishwoman committed at the end of last year. Oh, that's right. We'll never know her motive now. But I'm sure we'll figure it out in this game somehow. Yes, it was an English doctor she killed, as I understand it. Dr. John H. Wilson, yes. The man I invited to Japan personally. The mystery is, why did she kill him? And now that the culprit herself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer. On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter. It was Mr. Herlock Sholmes, the great detective, I mean. Yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes well, of course. My arch nemesis. How lightly you utter his name. Well, according to the stories published about him in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes. a best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson.
What? Dr. Wilson?
I just can't believe that it's a coincidence. I think that the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago must have been the friend and partner of Mr. Sholmes. Partner highlighted. And if that's really true, then the poor girl will never see her beloved father again. Oh.
As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. It was around the time you were born.
Yes, grandmother told me about it.
On returning to Japan, I took up my professorship at the Imperial Yuma University. But I also served another role, as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs.
Yes, I was aware of that as well.
In that case, I'm sure you understand. There are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you. What does he mean?
Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan? Okay. So he's the reason that she left. It's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram had arrived from Japan. It said that you'd collapsed with a high fever and you were growing weaker by the day.
What? Where did that news come from?
That's what I'd like to know, because after that long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. Was there something in Great Britain that you perceived might inconvenience me or some way? Or harm me? That's really the only explanation I could think of.
Dear me, do you reserve your most cutting glares for your father, Susato? I'm sorry, my dear, I simply can't. Ah, let me go! Oh.
Manimo-san.
So one throw wasn't enough for you.
I've got one last thing to say before they take me away. Professor. Me? I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. Oh, in that visiting student's fate. Visiting student? Josiah Brett, you mean? No, not her. The student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago.
Kazuma? What? Student of law? He must mean...
Don't tell me Migatoba's involved in Kazuma's death. Stop.
Kazuma-sama. What are you talking about? What does any of this have to do with Kazuma-sama?
Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he'll never...
Oh.
It is really weird to see the judge's body. I'm not gonna lie. Well, I didn't expect to find him in here. He did a Susato takedown. What were you officers playing at? Terribly sorry, Your Excellency. I was coming to tell you that the rickshaw has arrived, Yujin. It is a good job I came by. Yes, thank you for dealing with him. And I'll be there shortly.
Oh, Your Excellency?
The trial's over. I'm not Your Excellency anymore. Merely your father's friend, Shishiro Jigoku. And may I say that since I saw you last, you seem to have taken on a more dashing appearance. Susato. Oh! Oh, he knew.
Did you know all along? From the start of the trial?
A judge sees everything, Susato. I couldn't let you take the risk if Shishiro here hadn't known and then he'd recognized you. So I had a word in his ear beforehand, as an old friend. So, Shishiro, shall we? Yes, having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address.
Before you go, Father.
Sorry, my dear. We shall have to return to our earlier conversation at a later date. But well done again, both of you. You did admirably.
Oh, thank you very much.
What did you think of my Shishiro sling, huh, eh? It's been a while since I set a man flying like that.
Whatever could Father be hiding from me? About Josiah Brett, about Dr. Wilson, and now it seems, according to the reporter, about Kazuma-sama. I'm going to have to bring this up with Father sometime. When nobody else is around.
Judicial Assistant Mikatoba-san, Esquire-S, could I have a word?
Oh, yes, of course, Soseki-san. What is it?
I think perhaps it could be fate that we're meeting again like this now. You see, there's something I need to tell you.
Oh?
Everyone has so many things to say. I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England.
This I have to hear. Please, Soseki-san, tell me at once.
I will. As you know, my time in England was terrible. Cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things I was embroiled in. Thank goodness locum student Naruhodo-san Esquire stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back here to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. It was your father, Professor Mikatoba. He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report.
My father?
He seemed to be especially taken with a particular part of the report. So anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that he sent a telegram to you, asking you to return to Japan.
What was it then? The particular part my father was interested in?
I don't really know exactly. But do you remember them? Those two terrible cases I was caught up in?
Of course, I could never forget.
Your father seemed to concern himself mainly with the second case.
The second one? You mean the one Mr. Sholmes forbade any of us to talk about in public? Which is why the only case involving you that any of the members of the public is aware of is the first. Does the members of the public include us, the player? Because what? What do you mean a second case? Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what that dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that case somehow holds the key to all these curious unanswered questions. Are we gonna get a flashback case? That horrific, hideous, heinous case. The case of the haunted lodgings. Huh. That case somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan? I thought that whole business was over, but it seems I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told.
Oh.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness. And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san.
Oh. Oh.
Actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again.
Oh,
Yours, Susato.
Susato. Oh. Writing the letter at Kazuma's grave is so sad. Oh. For completion of episode 1 of the Great Ace Attorney 2. The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. Episode 2. Episode 3. The Return of the Great Departed Soul. Ooh. Episode 4. Twisted Karma in His Last Bow. Final chapter. The Resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh. Oh man. Well, I promise we're gonna start episode 2, so let's start episode 2. The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road. As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern Exchange student from his harrowing plight, than in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night.
Huh.
I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas.
Huh. What?
Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Huh. What? My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer, just starting out on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law, having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. What? But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to awaken from slumber, thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. 30th August, 7:28 a.m. Sholmes' suite.
Oh, Reno, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready.
Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious, as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Shh! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, Sholmes and Iris. This could be just the obtruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, I see. So that's it.
I'm frightened. I'm scared. The truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have this very morning met with a surprise. What? No. Well, is that not the case? Oh, really, my dear fellow, it barely wants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning. Ooh. Can I talk now? But of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you.
Hurley pulled your button off?
Oh, wow. Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. Helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring.
But Hurley, Bruno said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning.
Well, that really is a surprise. This is Sherlock Holmes. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire. The famous consulting detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name.
Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it goes cold.
And this is Iris Wilson.
And I had a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend.
And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London.
Yes.
Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, as published in Rance magazine. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? What do we got? Armband. An armband I inherited from Kazuma. It identifies the wearer as a defense lawyer throughout the Empire of Japan. Suzato Mikatoba, 16. A judicial assistant sent to Japan on a study tour. She's the epitome of a refined Japanese lady and a huge help to me always. Iris Wilson, 10. An extraordinary young girl who lives with Mr. Sholmes. She has a degree in medicine and is the author of a popular series of short stories published in a prominent magazine. Sherlock Holmes, 34. There's not a person in the world who hasn't heard of this famous great detective whose deductions never fail to surprise. Well, I received a letter from Japan.
Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it really?
That's right, and she had some rather startling news, in fact. Oh, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast.
Oh yes, what fun!
Alright, what do we got? Ah yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? What's in the melting pot today, The blue cabernet? Carbuncle?
Yes, it's from a case of theft that Hurley solved ages ago. The theft of a precious stone. A carbuncle's another name for a garnet, you see, especially if it's cut with a rounded top.
Oh, really? And this garnet was blue, was it?
That's the thing. They're usually red. No blue garnets have ever been discovered.
Oh.
So who knows what the stolen gemstone actually was? That's the real mystery of the case.
A proper Herlock Sholmes conundrum, huh?
I can type with my eyes shut, you know.
I can believe it. When a deadline's approaching, you sound like a Gatling gun.
That reminds me of a dream I had the other day. It was such a funny one, it woke me actually. I was typing for a whole hour in the pitch black, but I didn't make a single mistake.
That's incredible.
But then when I got light, I found that there wasn't any paper in the machine at all. Now I wonder if I'd actually been typing at all.
I think you might have just fallen asleep on the job. When it gets to this time of year, Londoners seem to leave their hearts alight all day long, and I love it. There's something very relaxing about watching the flames flit and dance about. But a fireplace in days of summertime is a waste of space. Really no use at all.
Rather like a great detective in days of no crimes and no criminals, Hurley.
But consider this. Instead of a fireplace, a frost place. That's my latest idea. Isn't it August? An extraordinary hearth from which emanates a cool breeze in the hot summer months. What do you think? I think if you invented such a thing, your name would go down in history. The principle is extremely simple, though. One must, of course, light a cold fire in the hearth. Yes, of course. Brilliant. The trouble is, none of the fires I built ever burned cold. How it taunts me. So, as you British say, it's a bit of a damp squib? Ah yes, Mr. Sholmes' faithful musical companion. Wasn't this violin made by somebody famous?
Yes, it's a Stradivarius. Though I'm afraid you'd have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Runo.
Okay, rude. But didn't you buy it for a song, Mr. Sholmes? I found it in a pawnbrokery amongst the forfeited articles. It clearly said Stradivarius on the label. What? The ignorant broker had no idea of its true value, you see, so I paid a mere 55 shillings for it. Yes, I have something of a turn for shopping. Herlock Sholmes, bargain hunter. But is it really a Stradivarius then? But of course, my dear fellow, it said so on the label. I think perhaps the ignorant broker had something of a turn for selling. That machine really is imposing, isn't it? But I can never remember its name.
Hurley calls it his great analytoscope. It can analyze anything at all.
It doesn't really help me. What does analyzing something even mean? An extremely astute question, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? Well, as Iris said, my machine here spits out analysis results of anything with which you care to present it. But how to interpret those results? That's the key. And I confess I have no idea. Clearly I'm going to have to construct a great analytoscope to solve the problem. That might not help. Is there, we moved so quickly from here, but I wanted to examine, like, the Daruma. Oh yes, the Daruma doll I brought with me from Japan. I always intended to color in the other eye once I become a fully fledged lawyer. But it's still winking at me like it's trying to say, I can wait, take as long as you need. I hope he colors it in. Or maybe not. I'll just have to keep on doing the best I can, I suppose. the office spade. Now the Susato-san's gone, the shovelers aren't represented to correct me. Maybe I'll have to do it myself. That's not a spade, Naruhodo-san, it's a shovel. Susato's room. I never did see what Susato-san's room looks like. I could go in now, of course, but I don't dare. I see a young maiden's private chamber as a place of bittersweet secrets. Oh. Although, from the laughter I used to hear when Iris would visit, I imagine it's mainly sweet. Oh. Now, at first glance, my desk here might look as though it's in a mess. However, it's not in a mess at all. Everything is exactly where I want it to be. But whenever Susato-san looked at it, she'd put her hands on her hips and say, "Oh dear." Her way of saying that I should make it a more orderly and neat mess. I miss that. Oh. Oh. Oh, my heart. Okay.
Tell me everything, Bruno. Don't worry. There's plenty to eat for breakfast.
Alright. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning, by international post.
Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it.
And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she's actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case.
Oh, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful?
A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. You've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do. We helped the man. Twice. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Ah, the mustached, twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the moustache.
You didn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley.
Yes, who could have forgotten those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. So what's this startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings by Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked if we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago, for what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Who? Oh. On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Susato's father questioned him about the case. She says, and something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram.
Oh, that case, yes. It was very strange, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I compiled the whole story into a nice neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, you said. Very mysteriously as well.
Really? I said that? Are you sure? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan?
months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan.
Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No? That's not what she said. No. It was just that he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse.
A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so she'd make the voyage back home? Why would he do that?
I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that, I wonder what Miss Suzato's father is hiding.
Hurley, do you know what it's all about?
Oh, he's in his outfit. Oh, well, who can say? But you said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. A stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, won't you, Iris?
I will, Hurley, don't you worry.
He scuttled off rather quickly there. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Sosuke-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes.
Aha! I found them at last.
Iris, are they?
The notes about the case. That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runo?
Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light.
That's the spirit.
And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and the fierce battle in court that followed. Relieving every detail. I just need to find a clue. And I have all the time in the world. Because of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. What? Wait, what? Wait, that just clicked with me! It was 6 months ago. A mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. It just registered with me that he's not able to practice law anymore. What? Like, he said it earlier, but... What happened? Well, I suppose... that we will find out next time. Thank you all for joining me today. I'm going to send you all off on a little old raid. Be sure to go spread some love over there. Yeah, this has been so much fun. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm very excited to see where this is going. I'm very intrigued by this case so far. And it hasn't even started. And I imagine Sosuke-san's gonna be the defendant again. But yeah, thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again maybe tomorrow. Maybe. Yeah. It's been a absolute blast. Go spread some love over on our raid. They're also playing Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. And yeah, send you all off. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye bye.